In an interesting turn of events, the Pixel 8 is going to get the Gemini Nano AI. And I think this is really interesting, as I'm sure many of my followers will. So, we went through this ordeal just a couple of weeks ago where one of the Google developers let it slip in an interview or something to that effect that the Pixel 8, due to hardware limitations which were never actually identified. Like nobody ever actually said this is why, this is the hardware limitation. We were left to guess. But due to hardware limitations, our poor friend, the Pixel 8, was going to be left out and not get the first ever Google Gemini Nano AI model on device. And I had a lot of harsh feelings about that. Because my whole thing is with these phones, like it's got the Tensor G3, it was marketed as a smartphone. The whole thing with the Tensor G3 is it's optimized to run their machine learning, their AI models, all that stuff. So when you come out and say this phone's supposed to be supported for 7 years, and then 4 months into the life cycle of the phone, you're already not getting the first AI model that's supposed to be on the device, that tells me that you're going to be in for some real trouble moving forward, and that really you shouldn't buy the phone. Well, I guess Google backtracked and decided that, okay, guys, yeah, we'll let it run the Gemini Nano AI. And for those of you who don't know, there's been a lot of confusion about this because I've get a lot of people in the comments who are like, oh, my phone runs Gemini AI and it's not even a Google phone. That is the AI app. That is basically what replaced Bard. It's what's going to replace Google Assistant. That is not the Gemini Nano AI model. So Gemini Nano is an on-device AI model that helps process things, and it's basically like it's a language model effectively at this point in time, but it will do other things. What it does is it helps perform AI tasks on the phone with Google's AI language and helps with different features. Right now, it's really not doing a whole lot. With the Pixel 8 Pro, effectively what it's doing is it helps with smart replies. And everybody knows what smart replies are. I turn them off because I think they're stupid. I want to say what I want to say. But what the Gemini Nano AI does is it analyzes a conversation and comes up with contextual smart replies. And it works with Google Messages. I believe it works with WhatsApp, Kakao, or whatever it's called, a couple different things. There's a few different apps that it's supposed to work with, and then it's supposed to do summarization in the recording app. So yeah, that's really not doing a whole lot right now, but the belief was that it wouldn't be able to work on the Pixel 8 because the Pixel 8 has 8 gigabytes of RAM instead of 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, Google has said that it does require a lot of RAM to do its large language model algorithms and all that stuff, and language models on the phone. Like it requires a lot of RAM. I believe that. I mean, I truly do believe that. But my thing is that I believe the Pixel 8 should have been able to run it anyway. And I don't necessarily think they've done any extra work to allow this to happen. What I think it is, when they don't have the allocated memory that they need to be able to perform these large language model algorithm computational crap that they're going to do to try and give you some sort of an answer or give you some sort of response, give you some sort of enhancement on your phone, it has to perform a lot of calculations. And whenever you have a computer that's performing a lot of calculations, you need the memory. So my guess is what was happening is that it was not it was either taking longer and it was impacting the actual phone experience, or my other guess is it was coming up with not exactly the same answers. And you want to have an identical experience. So if you have 12 gigs of RAM instead of 8 gigs of RAM, we know that the system RAM takes up stuff. Also, whatever you're doing on the phone, you may be running other things. Probably what they did is they came up with some way to reallocate the memory on the back end. So let's say if you've got 3 or 4 active apps running, maybe it shuts down 1 or 2 of them just to guarantee it has enough memory to be able to run these language model calculations, and then it yields the answers, or it yields whatever the product is. So my guess is that they probably did something with the RAM management on the Pixel 8, or they're just letting it run, and well, if it slows down or it gives you a different answer, that's fine with them. And it's really interesting to see some of the things that you get when you do these things. So I was running Gemini AI last night. I was running the Gemini AI app, and I was trying to create a thumbnail for a video I made. And I asked it to add some text to the Pixel 9. There's a Pixel 9 thumbnail I had, or a Pixel 9 picture from a reported leak, what it's supposed to look like. And I wanted to add the word Excel to it. And I wanted to make it look neat. So I ran that calculation in the Gemini AI app. And I said, show me, or even I used the Pixel 8, and I had a picture of the Pixel 8, and I said, use the Pixel 8. I tried that too. And it didn't even show me the Pixel 8. it made up some phone I've never even seen before. So there are issues. We don't always get the right results that we want. This is kind of the early generational stage of a lot of this stuff when it comes to generative AI, when it comes to a lot of these language models, when it comes to using these AI models. So it's kind of in the infancy stages. So my guess is that you're probably either A, you're going to get maybe a slightly different result in certain areas. Maybe it takes longer for the calculation to run. Maybe it might impact the performance of the phone, but it should be able to run it. And that's my guess. My guess was they just said, just as a catch-all, oh, it has hardware limitations, even though it doesn't have necessarily hardware limitations to run it, because obviously it can run it, and that was my thing. So obviously it can run it. It's just how well does it run it? That's probably the question we have to look at here. And they decided after all the backlash, we'll just let them have it. So I don't know so much if I want to say Google was lying, but I don't like the approach they took with it. I thought it was very lazy. I thought it was very not very genuine, because one, they didn't even tell us what the hardware limitations are, and two, they turn around in a couple of weeks and say, okay, you got it. And it's funny because there was a lot of backlash on this. And it's funny because it was my most liked tweet ever. I put out a tweet saying, rest in peace, Pixel 8, like 4 months, and talked about it not getting the Gemini Nano AI. And it got like 300,000, 400,000 views or something. It was crazy. So there was a lot of traction on it. And if any of you want to write me a personal thank you card for making a big deal about this and probably getting myself kicked off of any list Google has to send me anything, well, you can, but you're welcome. So yeah, I have no problem saying this stuff. I thought it was a very bad move. I thought from a PR perspective, it was terrible. I thought for the longevity of the phone and showing that you're actually supporting it was terrible. And I just didn't think it was a good quality answer. And when you have these ambiguities and then they don't even actually give you an answer for why it can run now, it's kind of makes you sit there and scratch your head and go, okay, so what was this hardware limitation exactly? And if I didn't have a foundational understanding of computer hardware before I ever started doing phone stuff, I used to do some programming. I've been dealing with computers and phones for like 30 years. I wouldn't probably understand it or be able to try and explain it a little bit better. But for them just to take for granted, oh, it has hardware limitations, everyone's going to go, okay, cool, no big deal, that's fine. I can't do this AI stuff on my brand new AI smartphone that you made the special chip for because it has hardware limitations, when it's the same chip as the other phone that can run it. So yeah, I think it's stupid. I am glad that they've gone ahead and they've done this, but we're going to get it in June. So there's still going to be a delay on this. You'll be able to get it in the developer beta for the next developer beta, I believe, but they're saying it's going to come out with the next quarterly feature drop in June, which will be interesting to see because we're expecting quite a few new things with the feature drop in June, like the display out. So I think June's going to be a really big feature drop when it comes to the Pixel phones. But yeah, apparently the Pixel 8 can run the Gemini Nano AI after all. So very interesting stuff. And again, it's very rudimentary. At this point in time, it's really not doing a whole lot of stuff. So it's not the end of the world that it can't, like, that you're not doing much with it. It was the end of the world that they said it couldn't run it. And then that just left a lot of questions out in the air saying, well, if it can't run this first ever AI model, how's it going to run one that are more advanced later, right? How is it going to be able to do this later? So yeah, it's going to be supported for 7 years, but what? So you'll be able to use Twitter and Facebook in 7 years, but you're really not going to get any meaningful updates. So we still have battles to fight here. But it was reassuring today. I saw Google put out on their Twitter or their X feed that Circle to Search was coming to some of the other Pixel 7 phones and the Pixel Fold soon. So finally, the Pixel Fold is going to get some love. Finally, some of the other Pixel phones are going to get Circle to Search. It's just very curious to me how they've timed this, because I think they've got some sort of contract. They've got some sort of agreement with Samsung, because what happened with Samsung today? I released a video yesterday. I released a video yesterday, March 28th. Or who knows, maybe I'll push this video today. Screw Google, whatever. So I I put out a video saying, talking about the update. So One UI 6.1 came out March 28th for the S23 phones, the Flip 5, the Fold 5, the Tab S9 series. It brought Circle to Search to those devices. So it's very curious to me that we've been waiting all this time for the Pixel Fold, some of the Pixel 7 devices, I think Pixel 6, to finally get Circle to Search. And then magically, just like the keynote, so when the S24 announcement was going on and they announced that they were getting Circle to Search, Google's Twitter page conveniently put out there, oh, by the way, this is a Google feature, we're going to get it too the same day. Surprise! They announced today, now the same time that One UI 6.1 rolls out and starts giving these smart features to Samsung phones, conveniently, we're going to get it on the Google phones now. But there's been no word. There's been not a comment, not a peep, nothing that has come out of Google. So I think there's some sort of agreement behind the scenes between these two companies that's holding back Google's own features because they're putting it on Samsung phones and Samsung's got to be paying them. So we'll see if my conspiracy theory holds up, but I don't think this will be the last time we conveniently see a Google feature launch the same time we get an update for a Samsung one. So that's all I got in this video. Go forth and prosper. I guess the Pixel 8's not dead after all. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts and feelings on this moving forward, but let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think we're bamboozled? Do you think they tried to pull the wool over our eyes? Do you think that they were lying or disingenuous? Or do you think it was just, they don't care and we don't care, so we'll just say it's got a hardware limitation and we'll go with that. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're excited and happy or if you don't care. There's a lot of people that really don't care about this AI stuff. And I'm like, if you don't care about AI and you don't care about all these modern features, why are you buying like $600, $700, $800, $900 phones? Get a Pixel 7 from last year. Save yourself hundreds of dollars. So anyway, that's all I've got. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.